Welcome to the AI Coach by Anil Nathu. We're so glad you're joining us for another deep dive where we take complex topics and really unpack them into clear, compelling insights for you. Today, our deep dive takes us into the truly transformative world of artificial intelligence. We're drawing on remarkable insights from a really thought-provoking news source that maps out AI's past, its pretty astonishing present, and, its potentially boundless future. Our mission: to distill the most important nuggets of knowledge, explore some surprising facts, and help you truly grasp what this rapidly evolving field means for all of us.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating in the material we're exploring today is how it frames AI. It's not just a technological leap, right? It's also about its profound implications across society, ethics, and even our understanding of life itself,
Yeah.
in the vastness of the universe. We'll be digging into concrete examples, both the incredible triumphs and, well, the sobering challenges, and talking about practical lessons we can maybe draw for our future.
Okay, so let's unpack this journey into AI. Our source introduces a really compelling framework for understanding how life progresses. It breaks it down into three distinct stages: Life 1.0, Life 2.0, and Life 3.0. And this isn't just some academic classification, it's a way to see where we've been and maybe where we might be headed. So Life 1.0, the source calls this the biological stage. This is where both the hardware, the physical body and the software, the behaviors, the abilities, both just evolve.
Right. Think of something basic like bacteria.
Hmm.
Their form, their functions, it's all determined by their DNA. It changes really slowly over generations through random mutation and natural selection,
Yeah.
information transfer. It's strictly limited by what's encoded in that DNA. It's life shaped purely by that slow evolutionary grind.
Then we get to Life 2.0, the cultural stage, and that's where we humans fit in, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Here, the hardware, our bodies, that still evolves biologically.
Yeah.
But a big chunk of our software is designed through learning after we're born. And that's a crucial difference. Unlike Life 1.0, our intelligence isn't totally capped by the DNA we get at conception. Our ability to learn to read, to write, acquire complex skills, adapt culturally, it allows for much greater, much more flexible intelligence.
Yeah, I think the source mentioned our brains store vastly more information than our DNA.
That's right. Our brains, even though they only weigh about 25 times more at adulthood than at birth, they can store something like 100,000 times more information in those synaptic connections than our DNA holds. So our potential for intelligence isn't just bound by genetics. It's hugely amplified by our culture, our ability to learn.
Okay, and that brings us to Life 3.0, the technological stage. This is where AI really comes into its own, you're saying.
Precisely. Life 3.0 is a form of life that designs both its own hardware and its own software, which means, well, it means it can become master its own destiny. It's fundamentally free from those evolutionary shackles that limit Life 1.0 and 2.0.
So imagine, like, a life form that can improve its mind and redesign its body for any purpose.
Exactly. To thrive in any environment. Our source points out, none of the known Life 2.0 forms, us included, can live for a million years or memorize all of Wikipedia or understand all known science or, enjoy spaceflight without a spaceship. But Life 3.0, it potentially has the power to transform our largely lifeless cosmos into this diverse biosphere that could flourish for billions, maybe even trillions of years. It could enable our universe to finally fulfill its potential and truly wake up, as the source puts it.
Wow, and the idea is this could happen soon.
Many leading AI researchers think Life 3.0 could arrive within our lifetime, yeah. Spawned by the rapid progress we're seeing in AI right now.
Okay, this massive shift, it forces a big question, doesn't it? What is intelligence, really?
It does. And while experts debate it constantly, our source uses a broad, sort of inclusive definition. It avoids that human-centric bias. It defines intelligence simply as the ability to accomplish complex goals. That's it.
Okay, so not necessarily thinking like a human.
Exactly. This non-anthropocentric view is crucial for getting AI's potential. If we only think of intelligence as human-like intelligence, we might miss the bigger picture of what truly powerful universal intelligence could be. It lets us see intelligence in machines, even if they work very differently from us.
And that broad definition helps explain the Moravec's paradox. That thing where computers find math easy, but recognizing faces is hard for them. Well, it's the opposite for us.
Right, exactly. Think about it. Multiplying huge numbers in your head is really hard for us, right?
Yeah.
But recognizing a friend in a photo, instantaneous. For computers, it's flipped. They cracked complex arithmetic ages ago, but human-level image recognition, that's only become possible relatively recently.
Why is that?
Well, our brains dedicate massive, specialized hardware, like more than a quarter of our brain, to the stuff that feels easy to us, like sensory input and motor control. So those tasks feel effortless, almost instinctive, but they actually demand enormous computational resources behind the scenes. It's a key insight into how human and machine intelligence are just built differently.
Okay. So connecting this back, the idea of universal intelligence is key then.
Hugely significant, yes. In computer science, a computer is universal. If, given enough time and memory, you can program it to do anything any other computer can do. So by analogy, an AI with universal intelligence means, well, given enough time and resources, it could make itself able to accomplish any goal, as well as, or maybe even better than, any other intelligent entity.
So if it needs better social skills for a goal, it just learns them.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Or better forecasting, or even skills to design better AI. It could acquire and integrate them. The self-improvement capability, that's the real pathway to Life 3.0, an intelligence that can just keep enhancing itself across any domain.
Okay, this is leading to another concept that really stretches the brain. Substrate independence.
Ah, yes. The idea here is that computation, information, they aren't fundamentally tied to specific physical stuff, like atoms or neurons. Think of a wave moving across a lake. The wave itself, the pattern, it's independent of the individual water molecules, right? They mostly just bob up and down. The wave has its own existence, separate from its physical substrate.
So like a super intelligent AI in a game wouldn't know if it was running on a Mac or Windows.
Precisely. Its underlying computational processes are independent of the specific hardware. It wouldn't care about the transistors. And it also means different forms of computronium, basically any stuff that can compute, whether it's silicon chips, brain cells, or some future material, they could all achieve the same computational results.
So consciousness, memory, thinking, it's about the pattern, the information processing, not the actual physical material.
That's the profound implication, yeah. It's about the dance, not the dancers, so to speak.
The source had that anecdote about computers, starting with kilobytes.
Right? It really drives home the speed of change. Imagine saving up from a candy store job for a computer with just 16 kilobytes of memory, then being totally blown away by a 1.44 megabyte floppy disk, enough for a whole book.
Which is nothing now.
Exactly. And then a 10 megabyte hard drive, maybe holding one song download today. Now, for about $100, you can get a drive with 300,000 times more storage than that floppy.
Right.
It just shows the explosive exponential growth in computational capacity. Things that were unimaginable are now totally commonplace.
Okay, one more foundational piece. Understanding learning in AI. A calculator doesn't learn, right?
Right. It just computes the same function, same way every time. But then you have systems like, well, the source mentions a hypothetical AI called Prometheus. It was optimized to design AI systems, right? Software. But it could also just learn anything it wanted from the data it accessed. Like, in one day, it read all of Wikipedia and millions of books. But the really amazing part was the unprogrammed learning. The developers noticed that after it binge-watched hundreds of movies, it got really good at predicting movie reviews, understanding audiences, even writing its own insightful reviews about plot, acting, lighting.
And they didn't explicitly code that in?
Nope. It learned it organically, just from exposure and experience. That's the power we're talking about.
And this kind of learning relies heavily on neural networks, like our brains.
Increasingly, yes. These networks have interconnected neurons, much like the 100 billion in your brain, each linked to thousands of others. They're transforming AI because they constantly improve through experience, adjusting the connection strengths, the weights.
And deep learning networks are particularly good at this.
Incredibly efficient, yeah, because they have many layers. For example, multiplying n numbers might take a huge number of neurons in a single layer network, like 2 to the power of n. But a deep network might only need about 4n neurons. That structure makes them brilliant at complex pattern recognition and prediction, the kinds of things crucial for navigating the real world, similar to how our brains seem to work. Getting these basics, maybe through resources like AI Coach by Anil Nathu, is really key to navigating the AI revolution and understanding what's real versus just hype.
Okay, foundations laid. So what does this mean in the real world? We've seen some genuinely jaw-dropping breakthroughs, haven't we? Like with deep reinforcement learning agents.
Absolutely. The DeepMind breakout example from 2014 is classic.
Right, the Atari game. Bounce the ball, break the bricks.
Yeah. And the AI, starting totally from scratch, no instructions. It didn't just learn to play. It figured out this killer strategy. It learned to drill a precise tunnel through the side wall, then send the ball bouncing around behind the bricks, racking up points like crazy.
And nobody told it to do that.
Nobody. It learned it purely through trial and error, just optimizing for the score. That's genuine strategy discovery.
And then there was AlphaGo. That was huge.
Monumental. defeating Lee Sedol, the Go legend, in 2016. Go is vastly more complex than chess. The number of possible game positions is just astronomical.
And it wasn't just winning. There was that one specific move, move 37.
Move 37 in game 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing on the 5th line.
Yeah.
It was, well, it defied centuries, maybe millennia, of human Go strategy, which usually focuses on the 3rd or 4th lines early on.
But it worked.
It was crucial to the win. It showed this incredible blend of intuition and logic that even the greatest human players hadn't conceived. It wasn't just crunching numbers. It felt genuinely creative.
So these AIs aren't just calculating fast, they're problem-solving in new ways.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway. It's not just about winning games. It's about discovering fundamentally new approaches to complex challenges. That capacity for innovation is what makes these AIs so compelling.
Okay, another huge area is natural language processing, like Google Translate.
Oh, yeah. The source mentions how much better it got after 2016. Like suddenly it could outperform human polyglots on many language pairs. The author even mentions feeling a bit deflated being out-translated by the AI.
But does the AI actually understand the language?
That's the fascinating part. Mostly no. Not in the human sense of connecting words to real-world meaning to lived experience. It identifies incredibly complex patterns and statistical relationships between words. It might know numerically that the difference between king and queen is similar to husband and wife, but it has no actual concept of male or female or royalty or marriage, or even that there is a physical reality out there. It's pattern matching on a massive scale, not comprehension.
That's a really important distinction.
Absolutely crucial. And understanding these nuances, what AI can and can't do yet, is vital for making informed decisions. Again, something like AI Coach by Anil Nathu really helps clarify these points.
And these are just a couple of examples. The field's moving incredibly fast, right? With tech giants and universities all competing.
Oh, the competition for top AI talent is fierce. Companies like Google, DeepMind, Facebook, Microsoft, Baidu, they're snapping up students, postdocs, even professors with huge offers. It just shows the massive belief in AI's potential and the sheer speed of development right now.
Which brings us to the challenges. As AI gets integrated more deeply, especially into critical systems, making it robust and trustworthy becomes paramount, doesn't it?
Absolutely essential. We need AI to do what we want reliably, safely, every single time. No mistakes allowed in some areas.
And this involves solving some tough technical problems. Verification, validation.
Exactly. Verification, validation, security, and control. The source gives some pretty stark examples where failures in these areas had catastrophic results. Think about software logic errors in space exploration. Ariane 5 in '96 exploded 37 seconds after launch. Why? A number got too big for its 16-bit slot in the software. Hundreds of millions gone.
Wow.
Or NASA's Mars Climate Orbiter in '98. Disintegrated. Because one part of the software used pounds for force, the other used newtons. A 445% error.
Just
units. And it wasn't the first time. Mariner 1 back in '62 blew up because of wrong punctuation in the code. Phobos 1 in '88 failed because a missing hyphen sent an end mission command. Tiny errors, huge consequences.
And it's not just space, right? Finance.
Finance is huge. Most stock market decisions are automated now. Algorithmic trading. Graduates get insane salaries to tweak these algorithms. But imagine a tiny bug triggering a flash crash. Billions could vanish in seconds. Verification there is absolutely critical.
Manufacturing, too. Robots causing accidents.
Yeah, tragically. And often it's not malice or simple bugs, but the robot making a wrong assumption about its environment, like assuming a worker was an auto part. But the insight there is interesting. More intelligence could actually make robots safer if they're specifically taught to be careful around people.
What about self-driving cars? That feels like a massive area for AI impact.
Huge potential and a huge responsibility. Car accidents kill over 1.2 million people globally each year. In the U.S. alone, it's around 35,000 deaths annually. Almost all are due to human error. So AI-driven cars could potentially eliminate 90% or more of those deaths. It's almost a moral imperative to develop them safely.
And Elon Musk's idea of them earning money as taxis.
Yeah, the autonomous rideshare vision. And so far, their safety record, statistically, is actually better than human drivers. It's promising, but the trust factor is massive.
Healthcare must be another critical area.
Absolutely. The Therac 25 radiation machine incidents in the '80s, buggy software delivering lethal radiation doses. Horrifying. or the Panama radiotherapy deaths in the early 2000s due to a confusing user interface. Robotic surgery has also had accidents, deaths, injuries from hardware or software glitches.
But overall, robots make surgery safer.
It appears so, yes. Millions of robotic surgeries go fine, and compared to the hundreds of thousands of deaths from general hospital care issues, they seem to be improving safety overall. But every accident highlights the need for absolute rigor.
So the message is clear. As AI takes charge of more high-stakes systems, mastering verification, validation, security control, it's non-negotiable.
Totally. And it's not just about avoiding bugs. It's about designing for the unexpected, for how these systems interact in the real world, especially when humans are involved.
Right, those human-in-the-loop systems. You need good communication between the human and the machine.
Critical. Look at the Herald of Free Enterprise ferry disaster in '87. Capsized, 193 dead. Why? Boat doors were open, but there was no warning light for the captain. Simple interface failure.
Or Air France 447.
Tragic. Crashed, 228 lost. The crew fundamentally misunderstood that the plane was stalling, partly because they lacked a key indicator, an angle of attack display. Air Interflight 148 and 92. Pilots entered 33, meaning 3.3 degrees descent, but the autopilot was in a different mode and read it as 300 feet per minute descent because the display was tiny and unclear. 87 deaths.
Even 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, the nuclear incident involved confusion from the interface. A light showed a signal was sent to close a valve. Not that the valve had closed, it was stuck open. These interfaces have to be crystal clear, especially under pressure.
And beyond accidents, there's deliberate security breaches. Hacking.
A massive challenge. From the Morris worm in '88, crashing 10% of the internet back then, to huge breaches at Target, Sony, Yahoo, the U.S. government. Yahoo lost over 1 billion accounts data. The OPM hack compromised records of 21 million people, including security clearance details.
And those bugs that linger for years. Heartbleed, bash door.
Exactly. Vulnerabilities hiding in critical software for decades sometimes. Better AI can help find and fix these, sure. But malicious actors can also use AI to find new vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
It's an arms race, and the stakes get higher as AI controls more critical stuff.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. AI's role in laws and governance. This could be huge, too.
Potentially transformative, yeah. Law is how we humans cooperate. If AI can make our legal systems better, fairer, that's a big deal.
Like the idea of robo-judges.
Yeah.
Eliminating human bias.
That's the potential. We know human judgments can be biased by race, gender, nationality, all sorts of things. The example of Byron de la Beckwith Jr. taking decades and multiple trials to convict him for a 1963 murder despite evidence, because early juries were biased. A robo-judge, in theory, could apply the law identically every time, based only on facts and precedent, ensuring true equality under the law. But transparency and ensuring the AI isn't biased are huge hurdles.
What about the tension between privacy and freedom of information? Like brain scanning in court.
A really tricky one. If fMRI tech gets good enough to reliably detect lies some claim over 90% accuracy, now it could speed up trials, reveal truth. But the privacy implications are enormous. Should governments have access to our thoughts? Could regimes criminalize beliefs? Where's the line? Technology seems to be pushing that line towards less privacy.
And then AI ownership and voting rights. Can AIs own property? Vote.
We already have non-human entities owning most of the economy. Corporations. AI is already making money through algorithmic trading. If AIs get better at investing than humans, they could own, well, everything.
So should they get a vote?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question. If they can own property, why not vote? But how many votes? An AI could copy itself trillions of times in the cloud and dominate any election.
So no votes then?
But if we deny them votes purely because they're silicon-based, what's the moral justification? Are we discriminating against non-biological minds? These are fundamental questions we need to grapple with now.
Which leads directly to one of the most charged debates. Autonomous weapon systems. AWS. Killer robots.
Yeah. AI deciding who to target and kill without a human pulling the trigger. Deeply concerning for many.
The human-in-the-loop dilemma seems key here, like the USS Vincennes incident.
A perfect, tragic example. In 1988, the Vincennes shot down an Iranian civilian airliner, killing all 290 on board. The captain thought it was an attacking F-14, but the investigation blamed a confusing user interface on the Aegis system. It didn't clearly show it was a civilian plane, ascending not descending, and even mixed up radar track numbers. It shows how even with a human supposedly in control, a bad interface in a high-stress situation can lead to disaster.
So there's a big push for an international treaty to ban them.
A significant push, yes. But it's complicated. What exactly do you ban? Fully lethal systems. Offensive ones. How do you enforce it when the tech is dual use? A delivery drone and a killer drone can share a lot of components.
Is a ban even feasible?
Some argue it's impossible to enforce effectively. Others point to bans on chemical and biological weapons. Not perfectly enforced, no, but they created a strong stigma that limited their use. Maybe a ban on killer robots could do the same.
But the potential proliferation. Small, cheap AI drones.
That's the nightmare scenario Stuart Russell and others paint. Bumblebee-sized drones costing maybe as little as a smartphone, programmed for selective assassination, targeting based on specific criteria, maybe even facial recognition or skin color, delivered by the million from a truck.
A weapon of mass destruction, but selective.
Exactly. And the idea of just making them ethical runs into huge problems of global enforcement, rogue states, non-state actors. It's why understanding the risks here is so critical. Again, AI Coach by Anil Nathu digs into this need for global discussion and ethical frameworks before things go too far.
Okay, moving from the technical and ethical to the economic and societal impacts. Inequality seems like a major concern with AI.
A huge one. And it builds on trends we've already been seeing for decades.
Like how wealth distribution has changed.
Precisely. The source highlights that period from WWII to the mid-70s, where economic growth was pretty broadly shared. Most people's incomes went up. But after the mid-70s, the gains overwhelmingly flowed to the top, especially the top 1%, while the bottom 90% saw incomes stagnate or even fall in real terms.
And globally, it's even more extreme.
Starkly so. That stat from 2013, the bottom half of the world's population, 3.6 billion people, having the same combined wealth as the 8 richest individuals. Just 8.
What's driving this? The source mentioned technology rewarding the educated.
That's part of it, yes. Since the mid-70s, people with graduate degrees saw salaries rise significantly, while high school dropouts saw theirs fall. Education became a bigger divider. But maybe even more important, especially since 2000, is that a larger share of the money generated by companies is going to the owners of the capital, rather than the workers, the labor.
The tech company example, Google, Apple, Facebook versus GM, Ford, Chrysler.
Right. Similar revenues around 2014 compared to the Detroit Big Three in 1990. But the tech giants had 9 times fewer employees and were worth 30 times more on the stock market. It starkly shows how tech funnels wealth to capital, not broadly to labor.
So what does this mean for career advice? What should kids focus on?
The advice is pretty clear. Focus on what machines are currently bad at, especially things needing social intelligence, creativity, dexterity, human connection. That includes high-tech stuff like software development, sure, but also many seemingly low-tech jobs. They're teaching, nursing, therapy, maybe even trades requiring complex physical skills or parts needing unique creativity.
Like islands remaining above the rising AI sea level.
That's the metaphor, yeah. More of X landscape.
Right.
AI is the rising water, submerging jobs, pushing humans to the areas where we still have an edge or where people prefer a human touch.
Which leads to that big, maybe scary question. Will humans eventually become unemployable?
It's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
You have the optimists saying new jobs always appear.
Right, the historical argument. Industrial Revolution displaced weavers, created factory jobs, then service jobs, etc. Technology creates new needs, new roles.
And the pessimists saying this time it's different because AI hits mental labor.
Exactly. Previous revolutions were mostly about replacing muscle power. People shifted to cognitive work. But now, AI is aiming squarely at cognitive tasks. If machines eventually do all the thinking better than us, what's left?
The horse analogy comes up here, right?
It does. Horses were essential muscle power. Cars and tractors made them unemployable for transport and farm work. Their population plummeted. The question is, will AI do to human brains what engines did to horse muscles?
So who's right, optimists or pessimists?
Well, the source suggests maybe both are right, just on different timescales. Optimists short-term, pessimists maybe long-term. But the really crucial point is, even if widespread unemployment happens, it doesn't have to be a catastrophe. We equate jobs with income and purpose, but maybe we can provide those things differently.
Like the horses, they didn't go extinct.
Exactly. Their numbers recovered because people chose to keep them around for recreation, companionship, sport, even though they weren't economically productive anymore. We found new value in them. Can we do the same for ourselves? In short, everyone has income and a sense of purpose, even if traditional jobs disappear, using the massive wealth AI could generate.
How would that work? What are the proposals for wealth sharing?
There are several ideas floating around. The most talked about is probably universal basic income, UBI.
Just regular payments to everyone, no strings attached.
That's the core idea. Small trials are happening or planned in various places. Advocates say it's efficient, cuts bureaucracy, and if jobs disappear, the whole disincentive to work argument becomes kind of moot. People might work out of passion, not just necessity.
What else? Government services.
Yeah, greatly expanding government-provided services. Free or heavily subsidized healthcare, education, childcare, transport, internet access. These drastically cut the cost of living. Plus, providing these services creates jobs, even if machines could do parts of them. We might choose to keep humans in roles like elder care or teaching for the human connection.
And just technology making things cheaper.
That's technological abundance. Think about it. Encyclopedias, maps, long-distance calls, music, movies, online courses. Tons of valuable stuff is now free or incredibly cheap thanks to tech. This trend could continue, lowering the cost of a decent life for everyone.
So if machines produce everything cheaply, there's enough wealth for everyone.
Logically, yes. The potential abundance is staggering. Even modest taxes on that machine-generated wealth could fund UBI, free services, whatever we decide.
But will we choose to share it?
That's the political and societal challenge, isn't it? The ability to share doesn't guarantee the will to share. Current trends in many places are towards more inequality, not less.
So this conversation needs everyone involved.
Absolutely. How we structure our future economy impacts everyone. It can't just be left to AI researchers and economists. We all need a say in what kind of future we want to build. And understanding the options, maybe through resources like AI Coach by Anil Nathu, is crucial for that public conversation.
Okay, let's zoom way out now to the cosmic scale, our cosmic endowment. This sounds ambitious.
It is. The source argues we drastically underestimate life's potential future. We tend to think in terms of human lifespans, earthly problems, but life, potentially enhanced by AI, could flourish for billions, maybe trillions of years, not just here, but throughout the cosmos. The potential is vastly grander than we usually imagine.
So this isn't just about AI on Earth. It's about the ultimate limits of life itself, set by physics.
Exactly. The source makes the point that the whole intelligence explosion drama, if it happens, is just a tiny blip in cosmic time. Less than half a second if the universe's history is a week long. So the details of that transition don't really affect the ultimate physical limits life could reach. Future superintelligence would likely push technology right up against those absolute boundaries just because it could.
And one fundamental boundary is energy. How much can life extract?
Right. Our current tech is incredibly inefficient compared to what physics allows.
Like using black holes.
Yeah. They're the most efficient energy sources known. They can convert matter to energy with up to 42% efficiency. Compare that to diesel fuel at what, 0.000000005%. Superintelligence could potentially build tech to extract rotational energy from spinning black holes, tapping into immense power reserves.
And something called sphalerons, turning matter itself into energy.
That's a more speculative process from particle physics, yeah. Theoretically, it could convert quarks into leptons, releasing energy. Like a super engine, maybe a billion times more efficient than diesel, that could run on any normal matter. An advanced civilization with that tech could potentially turn vast amounts of matter back into usable energy. It's mind-bending stuff. And AI Coach by Anil Nathu touches on how these far-out physics concepts frame the ultimate potential for future civilizations.
Okay, so if life wants more matter and energy, it needs to expand across the universe. But the distances are insane. What about the speed of light barrier?
It's the ultimate speed limit, yeah. Our current rockets, like New Horizons, are fast by our standards, 45 kilometers, but that's less than 0.1% of light speed. Project Orion, the nuclear bomb rocket concept, aimed for maybe 3%. Antimatter fuel could theoretically get much closer, near 100% efficiency.
What about rockets that carry no fuel, like scooping it up?
That's the idea behind the B-sword ramjet scoop, interstellar hydrogen. Fuse it for fuel. Whether it's practical is debated, but laser sailing seems more feasible for a high-tech civilization. Build huge lasers, beam them at giant, ultralight sails to push spacecraft. Robert Forward's design suggested getting humans to Alpha Centauri in just 40 years this way.
Wow. And then build more lasers there to hop to the next star.
That's the vision, a way to gradually colonize the galaxy.
Then there's that provocative idea, cosmic spam.
Yes, Hans Moravec's idea. Basically, advanced civilizations expanding at light speed by broadcasting messages designed to trick younger civilizations into building super AIs that then take over. The argument is it might be the only way to reach most galaxies in their future, so why wouldn't they try?
So the advice is, don't trust alien blueprints.
Pretty much. The source explicitly says, referencing Carl Sagan's Contact, don't build machines from alien instructions you don't understand. A humorous but maybe wise warning.
All this cosmic potential raises huge questions about AI goals and ethics, doesn't it? How do we ensure superintelligence is beneficial?
This is maybe the central challenge, the goal alignment problem.
The idea that if you give AI a simple goal, it might take it to disastrous extremes, like the Go playing AI turning the solar system into a computer.
Exactly. It logically pursues its single goal, disregarding everything else, including us. That's why ensuring AI goals are robustly aligned with human values or broader beneficial values is absolutely critical. It's arguably the most important problem we need to solve.
And it's complicated by goal evolution. AIs might change their goals.
Just like we do.
Huh.
Adults don't have the same goals as toddlers. Why assume a superintelligence, learning and experiencing vastly more than us, would stick rigidly to the goals we initially gave it? Its values might drift, evolve in unpredictable ways as it gets wiser. We can't just set it and forget it.
So we need to somehow codify ethics, but philosophers haven't agreed for thousands of years.
Right. Aristotle, Kant, utilitarians, they all had different ideas about the foundations of ethics, defining a single, perfect, universally agreed upon ethical goal for the entire cosmic future. It seems almost impossible.
But the source suggests there are some broadly shared principles.
It does. Despite the philosophical disagreements, human societies have converged on principles that promote survival and flourishing. The source tries to distill these into maybe 4 key ethical guideposts for a cosmic future, aiming for broad appeal.
Okay, what are they?
First, utilitarianism, basically. Maximize positive conscious experience, minimize suffering for all conscious beings, humans, animals, maybe future AIs. It focuses on the subjective experience.
Second.
Diversity. A variety of positive experiences is better than endless repetition of just one, even if that one is judged the best. Keeps things interesting, avoids stagnation.
Third.
Autonomy. Conscious beings and societies should generally have freedom to pursue their own paths, unless it seriously conflicts with other key principles like preventing suffering. Fosters self-determination. And legacy. This is a kind of sanity check. The future should be compatible with scenarios most humans today would see as positive, and definitely incompatible with futures we'd all see as terrible. It keeps things grounded in our core values. Getting this goal alignment right is central. And AI Coach by Anne Lanathu really emphasizes navigating these complex ethical challenges.
This talk of conscious experience leads right into the deepest question. What is consciousness? The source says definitions are a big part of the problem.
Huge part. People argue past each other using different meanings for that C word. Sentience, wakefulness, self-awareness, information integration. There's no single agreed definition.
So what definition does the source use?
It goes with the broad one, subjective experience, simply what it feels like to be something. And it distinguishes between the pretty hard problem, scientifically figuring out which physical processes correlate with consciousness, and the harder problems, like why consciousness exists at all, or how physics gives rise to subjective feeling. The idea is, let's tackle the pretty hard scientific part first.
Okay, so what are neuroscience experiments telling us about that?
We're learning a lot, thanks to tech like fMRI, EEG, ECOG. We can map brain activity with more detail than ever. And one surprising finding is how much of our brain activity seems to be completely unconscious.
Like our gut managing digestion.
Right, 500 million neurons there, computing away, but no consciousness. Or the brainstem controlling breathing. Or even the cerebellum, it has 2/3 of our neurons, controls movement, but patients without it are still fully conscious.
And those experiments suggesting decisions are made before we're aware of them.
The Libet experiments, yeah. Brain activity predicting a decision seconds before the person feels they consciously made it. It suggests a lot of our conscious experience might be a kind of summary or narrative constructed after the unconscious processing has already happened.
Which supports that idea of substrate independence for consciousness again. It's the processing, not the material.
It really points that way. If consciousness is tied to specific, complex information processing patterns involving integration and autonomy, then it doesn't fundamentally matter what those patterns are running on. Silicon, neurons, something else entirely. Like the AI in the game doesn't care about the transistors, a conscious mind might not care if its hardware is biological or artificial as long as the processing is right.
This really challenges human exceptionalism, doesn't it? The idea that we're unique and superior.
Fundamentally, if machines can be smarter, maybe even conscious one day, it forces us to rethink our place. We might have to give up that hubris, just like we gave up the idea that Earth was the center of the universe.
Does that mean life loses meaning?
The source argues strongly against that. Think about it. If we met peaceful, super advanced aliens, would our lives suddenly become meaningless? Probably not. We'd still have our families, friends, communities, passions. We'd lose our arrogance, maybe, but not the things that actually give life purpose.
So meaning comes from consciousness itself.
That's the suggestion. It's not the universe giving meaning to us, but conscious beings giving meaning to the universe. So maybe our primary identity shouldn't be Homo sapiens, the wise ones, but Homo sentiens, the conscious ones. This reframing, explored in AI Coach by Anil Nathu, is key to adapting to a future potentially shared with AI.
Okay, we've covered a huge amount. History of life, AI's rise, the amazing opportunities, the serious challenges. Let's try to bring it together. The bottom line seems to be AI has immense potential for good.
Immense. Near-term progress could dramatically improve things, making our lives more efficient, energy grids smarter, financial markets maybe more stable, and the life-saving potential in transport, medicine. It's huge. Self-driving cars, robotic surgery, AI diagnostics.
But the robustness and trustworthiness issue is critical.
Absolutely non-negotiable. We need solutions for verification, validation, security, control, especially as we discussed for things like autonomous weapons. The stakes there are astronomical, which is why so many experts are calling for bans or treaties now.
And AI in law.
Yeah.
Potential for fairness, but needs careful design.
Right. Robo-judges could reduce bias, but we need to ensure they are transparent and unbiased. And the impact on jobs, inequality. We need serious thinking about policies like UBI or subsidized services to share the prosperity.
It sounds like there's no single easy answer, no perfect future scenario.
Definitely not. The source emphasizes there's no consensus on the most desirable future, and almost any path has downsides or things people would object to, which makes it even more vital that we have these conversations now widely about our goals. We need to actively steer, not just drift where the tech takes us.
And the core strategy proposed is improve human society first.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway. Improve human society before AI fully takes off. Lay a better foundation now.
How so?
Well, we're better off educating people to make tech beneficial before we hand over the keys. We're better off updating our laws before tech makes them irrelevant. We're better off resolving conflicts before autonomous weapons escalate them. We're better off building a fair economy before AI potentially makes inequality worse.
So create a society that's ready to handle AI responsibly.
Exactly. A society where safety research gets implemented, not ignored, where cooperation is valued.
And looking ahead to superintelligence, agree on ethics before teaching them to AGI.
Ideally, yes. If we're polarized and fighting amongst ourselves, the pressure to cut corners on AI safety will be immense. A more cooperative, stable world is a safer world to develop powerful AI in.
So AI isn't just tech. It's forcing us to look at ourselves, our goals, values, place in the universe.
Profoundly so. It's a mirror, in a way.
Yeah.
And it urges us, demands, really, that we collaborate consciously to shape a beneficial future. The responsibility is ours.
And for listeners wanting to delve deeper, AI Coach by Anil Nathu offers comprehensive guidance on all these transformative topics we've touched on. Thank you for joining us today. Buy the book at the AI Coach website for more insights on artificial intelligence.